Story 1. I am a server. No matter how much we insist it's okay that you are keeping the entire restaurant open after we've closed, please know we are completely lying. We will get fired if we deviate from anything other than pure delight that you are keeping us from going home. We dread it. Please don't believe us. Story 2. Managed boarding and grooming kennels for 8 years. The secret is that the employees actually do love your pets too. Even the difficult ones, most of us realize they just miss their people. The number of times I've wept when a pet died, or spent way too many hours comforting a dog with separation anxiety, or spent hours off the clock with a boarder who needed to be rushed to a veterinarian office. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Some pets just aren't very pleasant, not going to lie. Story 3. I used to work in jewelry. Most of the prettiest gemstones are also very affordable. Tanzanite is a beautiful purple and looks nicer than amethyst. Topaz comes in lots of colors, including a pretty blue color which can be as nice as aquamarine. Opals are not as brightly rainbow-hued as they look in pictures. Story 4. Used to screen resumes for small companies. Job requirements are more of a wish list situation. Never let some unchecked boxes deter you from applying. You have no idea what the applicant pool is like. The biggest boon, especially at small companies, is someone who legitimately cares. Story 5. There is way more butter than you think in almost every dish you eat at fancy restaurants, and that is usually the reason you won't see the amount of calories in each dish. Source: 5 years as a chef in Italian cuisine, head chef, 8 years in an Italian kitchen. Edit: since it has been asked, if I could recommend one guidebook for you all to have in your kitchen, it would be Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Mastering the Elements of Good Cooking by Samin Nosrat. Yes, there are a plethora of others, but this one is my personal favorite. Story 6. Former Bath and Body Works associate here. The scents they discontinue will come back with a different name and new marketing. They're just recycling the scents. Story 7. Some therapists or counselors are on the wrong side of the couch, so to speak. If you feel your mental health provider is unhinged, they may very well be. Story 8. Change your dirty furnace filters and clean your air conditioning coils outside. These make up an easy 30% of my calls for no heat or cooling. More attention than I thought. So real quick, you have 2 coils inside and outside. Your furnace filter keeps the inside one clean, so make sure that filter is clean. For the outside coil, turn off power to the unit. Remove the coil guard and top, usually 5/16 or 1/4 nut driver and about 20 screws. Don't use high-pressure water. Simply set it to a shower setting and hold it a few inches away from the coil. Do this from both sides. Reassemble and wait for it to dry before turning the power back on. Your head pressures will appreciate it. Also, don't forget to blow out your condensate line regularly to prevent water from flowing back into the unit due to a blockage. Story 9. All I'm saying is there is a reason no one who works in the recreational vehicle industry owns a recreational vehicle. Just some clarification. I work in Elkhart, Indiana, which is the recreational vehicle capital of the world. As other people have noted, quality is poor in all the major companies. The big ones are Thor, Forest River, and Grand Design. These 3 companies probably own 90% of all recreational vehicle companies, so check who owns what you are buying. There are some mom-and-pop shops that do put out good products, but those are pretty few and far between. Story 10. Former aircraft fueler. Don't check your pets in kennels, especially in summer or winter. They are exposed to very harsh environments, left on belt loaders in the sweltering heat right next to a running auxiliary power unit that's loud enough to deafen human ears, let alone a dog's. It's terrible. I always feel so sorry for them. American Airlines will destroy your luggage. Bags get overloaded on carts, fall off on the way to the plane, and are left there to get run over by tankers and, yes, fuelers. They get rained on and then dragged to the edge of the ramp to sit all night while you arrive at your destination and wonder where your bags are. If your departure is delayed, 90% of the time it's us, the fueler. Look out the window to the right side if it's a small plane, left side if it's a really big plane. If there's a truck sitting under the wing, we're the reason you're late. Sorry. Edit. Look, I don't know what it's like for the pets on the flight, I've only seen them countless times left in kennels on belt loaders in the hot sun next to an engine. I was a fueler at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport for 6 years. I don't have insider knowledge of the airlines beyond my station. I would advise against checking pets if you can help it, but I don't have any advice beyond that. There are some people in the comments that worked for the airlines and have better knowledge. Second edit, just want to let you know the pets in kennels are not always left outside. It's not an everyday occurrence, and it's not just American Airlines that does it. I just fueled more American Airlines flights than anything else. But I've seen it happen more than enough times. Story 11. You would be surprised how willingly someone will do their job and even go above and beyond if you just compliment them for their professionalism, politeness, and how they are helping. Thank you all. Story 12. Worked at a department store photography studio owned by a major photography company that you can imagine probably took your school yearbook photos. The company also is partnered with a popular online photo order website. Notice how quickly we write down a price, strike it out, and write a new price as the deal. Yeah, that's pretty much just the price that everyone gets. We aren't doing the math that fast. We have it memorized because almost everyone that comes in has that 40% off coupon. Don't come in without a coupon. There is always a coupon on the website. If you end up paying for sitting fees, it's because you just didn't go on our website. Honestly, don't buy our photos. If you just do the session and say that you'll buy them online later on the partnered photo order site, it'll be cheaper than if you buy them in-store that day. Yes, even when we say, oh, but you won't get this deal online. If you do buy in studio that day, just buy the digital disc of your photos. You get to keep all of them instead of having to pick your favorite 3 to 4 pictures. Oh, and again, it is way cheaper to take that disc to a photo kiosk and have them printed yourself. Please don't spend $400 on a couple of photos that you can't legally copy when you could have gotten an $80 disc of all the photos and have the copyright to them. Story 13. Not an industry I work in per se, but I used to be in a sales role. One of my customers was a milk bottling plant. I was somewhat surprised that they were putting the exact same milk in both organic and non-organic cartons. Turns out all of their milk is organic, but in order to not miss out on the sales of non-organic milk, they just bottle them differently and sell them at different prices. Story 14. Construction boy here. If your windows or sliding doors are tough to open and close 9 times out of 10, we put your own dish soap on the tracks, and the thing works perfectly. It takes 5 minutes, and we charge $150. Dish soap, people, it's better than WD-40 sometimes. Story 15. Amusement park ride operator here. If your child is crying and you want us to stop the ride, even if we want to, it's not going to stop immediately. The carousel will spin a few more circles or the ship will swing a few more times before stopping. The only exception is the emergency stop, which will absolutely disrupt the ride for a while if we press it. Hence, we only use it in actual life-threatening situations. The best thing you can do is try to get your child to calm down as the ride comes to a stop. No, yelling "stop the ride" at us does not make it stop any faster. Story 16. Everything at the Container Store exists and is cheaper at Lowe's. Even the drop-front shoeboxes. Story 17. They lie to their customers about saving their credit card information because we aren't supposed to. We also save their social security numbers, addresses, and 5 of their most recent phone numbers and bank account numbers. The life of a student loan servicer. Story 18. I am a teacher. If you, as a parent, read with your child often and early, your child will thrive in school. I am talking about reading daily books together from newborn to about 3rd grade. Every single day. No teacher can replace that. Edit. I thought we would all understand that there are always exceptions, such as dyslexia and learning disabilities. So here is another industry secret. Your child will not always fit the school model. Teachers know that, and that is okay. We are all just people after all. Peace. Story 19. RV technician here. This is designed to start breaking after around 44 uses. Most RV owners use their trailers on weekends, but not every weekend. So, that 44 uses on average stretches between 2 and 3 years. Story 20. At Goodwill, we do not clean anything that we sell, and we receive some really gross items that touch everything else. So, Next time you buy something from Goodwill, wash it well. Story 21. Weight loss industry. This might be obvious, but most of our business comes from return clients after they have gained their weight back and then some. To be clear, the plan is not rigged to make you gain it back, but the fact that it happens easily as a result of dieting keeps us in business. Story 22. Audio engineer here. A few seemingly obvious things to point out. 9 out of 10 times with a studio, you get what you pay for. You have to pay for years of experience, acclaimed expertise, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment and software tools, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of dollars that went into the acoustic engineering of the physical recording space alone. People walk into great studios and balk at over $1,000 a song, but don't realize they're getting access to close to $1 million in tools, plus an engineer who's going to make them sound better than life. On the flip side of that coin, beware of eye candy. Don't be fooled by big mixing consoles. Sometimes they're not even used for your music. Sometimes they don't even function. I've seen studios where the sole purpose of a large board is to dupe unsuspecting musicians into parting with their money. In larger studios, bands with smaller budgets are often stuck with an intern who may not even be getting paid. If your music is bad, no amount of production is going to make it a hit. As a small studio owner, I only share work that I think will bring me more business. Wondering why I haven't shared your music? It's because it's not good. Billie Eilish recorded on budget equipment at home with her brother. Those recordings were then worked on by some of the best engineers in the world to make it sound like it wasn't. Be wary of a record label. They may offer to front the costs of your recording and touring, but you have no creative control over your sound, where you record, your tour schedule, and usually the label will own your music. Oh, and you have to pay all of that money back to the label. Be cautious of studios that claim, so and so recorded here. There's a studio in Iowa that claims, Slipknot recorded here. And while it's true, Slipknot did record in that building, it was a different owner, different engineers, and some different equipment. You're not gonna sound like Slipknot by recording there, sorry. Story 23. A lot of successful artists at a certain level of success do nothing more than create a concept and employ several assistants, who are either current or graduating art students, who actually make the art itself, its reproductions, or both. I know this is old news in the art industry and academia, but outside of it, I found it very hard to explain my job to people. I do believe that films also romanticize this field and distort what a lot of outsiders think it actually is. Story 24. As a former Transportation Security Administration worker, airport security is a lot of theater. The Transportation Security Administration is constantly failing plainclothes inspections. I worked with a guy who got fired because someone showed him an ID with a picture of Mickey Mouse on it, and he let the person through because he wasn't paying attention. Story 25. This should be pretty obvious. But for big brand hotels, if you try to go above the hotel and call the corporate customer care line to demand compensation or complain, that customer care line will always call the hotel for the full story and will not just blindly give compensation. Story 26. In Microsoft Office, Word specifically, you can upload recorded interviews and it will transcribe them, assigning speaker 1, speaker 2, 3, and 4. Basically, it eliminates a huge annoying part of the job. This blew up. Everyone who gave awards and stuff, you're amazing. I love you all. Okay? Adding this edit. You need to be subscribed to Office. Then, when in Word, there is a dictate button. If you click it, dictate and transcribe should pop up. Click transcribe. Yes, it's not perfect, but for a reporter who is transcribing all day long, and it's definitely the most annoying thing ever that I dread doing on a daily basis, it's changed my life. Story 27. Healthcare. Homemaker. If your grandparent or parent receives in-home care, please know that your family member could live in a cockroach-infested house and not have to move if they didn't want to. It's not up to the company to provide your loved ones with environmentally safe places to live. It's up to the family. They can certainly try to persuade, but they can't force. Why do I know this? Because I've been to a cockroach-infested house where an 80-year-old woman lives. I have a mentally ill client who put bleach in his dog's water to help with its breath. I have a client who never cleans his cat box. I have a client who has a caved-in ceiling. I've reported it, but there is no help from the company. All they say is, there's nothing we can do. It's up to the family members. It's a sad thing because there are so many family members and friends who don't truly care how some people are living. Sure, they'll visit, but do they clean the litter box? Do they ensure there are no cockroaches? Do they make sure the house is stable and not falling apart? No. They say they care and love the person, but they don't care enough to ensure they live in a healthy environment. It really worries me because if I imagine my own mother having such a deteriorated mind and there were no other family members to help her, she could live in a rundown, cockroach-infested house if she were stubborn enough. It frustrates me because although the client does have rights, should they really have the right to live somewhere where their health could be at risk? Where their caregivers could be at risk as well? Edit. I've never been told by my company that I'm obligated to report to Adult Protective Services. They only told me to call them and we'll work it out. They never informed me of taking it a step further on my own. I've never been given phone numbers for Adult Protective Services or animal abuse numbers. I'm only 20 years old and I've been in this job for barely a year, so everything is new, and I'm still learning about how this whole healthcare system works. I'd also like to add that I understand there are different perspectives. I am well aware that many elderly or mentally ill individuals are severely stubborn and won't let you help. I know because I care for these types of people and hear about them often. I am not disregarding your struggles. I simply wrote this post when I was overwhelmed and stressed from work. I've met many families who care for their loved ones, and bless you all who do. We need more of you in the world.